And then Jesse had a lot of things to say in the chat, and I wanted to go over them. So yeah, that was the comment. Looking at the book cover, it is all biology. How outdated this is, like from the sentience book.
Sentience one.
Yeah. Did you have a copy of that just to put it up?
I don't, but I mean I do. Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah.
And I think the Kindle has the like oh yeah, it immediately got rid of it. When it opens up, it let me see if it'll. It just shows it for a second and then switches.
Oh.
Let me see if I can say front cover.
I'll put this cover.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, Jess.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, your screen is turned off to Saint bandwidth here. What do we have?
It's funny though that I can't select the front the cover.
There it is. Okay.
Like the Kindle locks me out.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's just it's like just a collection of different.
Yeah, it was more of a quip. It wasn't too serious of a remark, but just it was sort of like, oh, like I don't know. I feel like I would love to see someone do a kind of write up of what the heck happened. Like I know as I reference this maybe awkwardly, I keep thinking about the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines event at MIT that I attended like a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I got a fantastic. They had that was like, I as a funny side note, they had a tote bag and an umbrella, at that event, and I remember because there was a big 10-year anniversary. I remember the students being there like, dude, what is this for? It's like the best swag we've ever got. It's like this fantastic swag for this event. So I literally have a tote bag that I wear around Boston sometimes and feel very cool about myself when I do it. But at the event, I keep thinking about the event at the level of like you had Demise from DeepMind comment on things. You had Poggio, and you had like Josh Tenenbaum, and you had these people kind of competing from the importance of neuroscience, cognitive science, and then like AI high performance big lab AI. And I'm mentioning it here in the context of, man, like it's such a interesting time to see the way the camps have gone about like the importance of using biology or neuroscience to study AI, like not just neuro AI, yes, but also like where it's gone. So I don't know, like now there's the advent of gigantic LLMs, and not just that the size of them, but the usage of them, and its sort of interpretation of where the sentience conversation is going is so. I'd love to see a wonderful like documenting of like the last 10 years of that, because I feel like for someone coming into it now, like I just, I'm always about like frontier map and whatever, like someone coming into conversation now versus like what it was like 5 or 10 years ago. It's just like, how do you explain that, so anyway, that's really what my quip was kind of pointing at in a more serious way. Yeah, so we can go through the chat. I don't know about that much more substantial things. Yeah. Okay, so, I do see some other stuff.
So you had a comment. Had a very interesting discussion around the limits of large language models and interpreting various internal states. We'll see if I can do justice a bit later, depending on what else we want to discuss ahead. Did we talk about that? I guess,
attempted that one. Yeah. And it was.
Large language models are exposing many existing limitations and structural hardships that have been optimized for but are brittle. I feel bad for educators who are somewhat painted into a corner about AI in general, and this sort of idea of AI solutionism. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think there are a lot of administrators in academia who are much more excited about like using AI in the classroom, as they say. Then I mean, because you don't have to actually implement it. You just say, "Oh, this is a great idea. Let's do this," and
Well,
then
and
right,
the incredible inertia and economic force behind there's like a whole sector of AI, for lack of better terms, economic implementation activity where it's like, oh, let's use AI to extend your wonderful service to the people on the edge. And we're going to, if you buy our product, we'll extend your service further.
yeah,
And so much gets caught in that gap. And it's like that incentive plus what I was struggling mightily to say about the ceiling and the floor and the Ouroboros and okay, use AI to help your students learn through AI enhanced learning, and then AI evaluate it, and it's like, what have you actually achieved relative to the actual like that conversation versus how do you pedagogically, if you really care about helping a student grow and develop and understand, those are hard lines to um, it's an interesting thing to try to square and balance, as
yeah,
you said.
yeah. I feel bad. Okay, and then you have the high end super AI first premium schools that
Yeah,
lesser served folks often get compared to. And what does that mean?
like a lot of you see this stuff on certain social media platforms, whether it's like a positive thing, like for example, like someone I mentioned before, Brennan McCord, the Cosmos Institute, is incredibly pleased that whatever school he sent his kids to, which is like very AI based, and like, oh, like I'm very pleased that my students are getting really highly specialized AI enhanced education. Like you have that, and then you have people critical of that who are saying, oh, like tech elites, what are they doing? They're setting themselves to either an incredibly tailored sort of Elon Musk type enhanced school, um, that I forget what his school is called, or the complete opposite, which is, uh, well, my to be performative and mocking of this, and I do take it seriously, but the critics will frame it as, oh well, I'm giving my daughter and my son the experience of having a technology free education or summer school, as in they get to have the luxury becomes not having, or the ability to opt out and like have artisanal non-tech based experience too. So you have this dichotomy of, are you being super AI enhanced um, with the latest technology and customized and tailored, or are you having the opposite where you don't have that at all, and that's a luxury too, where you get to be escaping from the other side of the coin. I'm not really trying to advocate for any of this, but just that that's the pressure space in education right now. Is it a premium thing? Are you getting away from it? Are you stuck having to implement it? Is your teacher becoming an IT manager for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 people, which they're not trained to do with technology they don't understand? It's it's a mess. So
Yeah, I think there's always been that tension with like educational psychology, and they love like using technology to solve problems, and then there's actually doing the educating, and then you don't really have the uh, the do you want to debug things all semester, or do you want to teach something? A
yeah,
lot of a lot of technology oriented classes have always had that problem. Like before large language models, it would be like if I want to set up a demo, if I want to work with a piece of software throughout the class, I have to make sure it works for people, make sure that everyone's sort of going at the same speed, and then they have to actually learn something, and that's hard when you have a class of like 20 to 30 people, even because it's like people come in with different levels of technological expertise or self-efficacy. People then
mm,
do better or worse, not because they understand things more, but because they can use the technology more effectively. and it just it's just kind of a you almost have to individually it's almost like individualized learning. It's forced. I have to work out a problem with you, and it might stop the rest of the class, and then we don't get to do as much learning as we would like. And those were always a lot of problems even before large language models, where you had to coordinate
Yes.
learning. It's sort of constrained by the technology, when in fact the promise is that the technology will make things better.
And that's exactly what I was getting at with the comment. LMs are exposing many existing limitations and structural hardships that have been optimized for, but are already brittle. And I think that's like the fact that we have LMs now doesn't change that existing condition and that existing broad trajectory of like many institutions at K through 12, higher or other, or just big, various institutional sizes having to deal with the pedagogical problem of that and the management of that. And it's like, just because we have a new, the AI question is sort of like, well, isn't there an app for that, basically? And it's like, well, it doesn't take away. And I think to again zoom all the way back out, I feel like this is sort of the macro. This is the tension of the moment right now that is very difficult to talk about. But like, we have existing problems in the world that have been brewing for some time, and we have some viable AI solutions. We have a tremendous lack of preparation for how to understand and implement those things. And it's like, some of those things are going to be made better. Some of them aren't going to be better, but you have to, I'm trying to find ways to champion the sobriety of understanding the problem space fully, before getting lost in the Ouroboros AI generated solutions, AI generated answer, AI generated evaluation of what's going on. Like I feel like it's sort of like a meta Norbert Weiner anti-homeostatic information instability, like throwing back to like the 1940s and his like cybernetics and maybe human use of human beings, but just literally just we're kind of, the ability to actually comprehend what's happening is under duress right now. So
Yeah, kind of bringing Norbert Weiner into it. This is related to RAF, Reflection Agency Framework. Morgan wanted to say something.
Well, I was just going to bring up the amazing 1980s movie Real Genius with Val Kilmer. And I don't know if you remember this, but the young kid who comes to the school, keeps showing up to lectures, and more students are just put out tape recorders, and then eventually the professor is just a tape recorder.
Yeah.
nice.
And so it's just the tape recorder is talking to the tape recorder, which seems prescient now. But yeah, anyway, just play it around.
That's great, actually.
Thank you for that.
So you had a couple of comments here related to Reflection Agency Framework. Yeah.
The ARIA framework, I forget what that was specifically related to, but that and the poster were these things about it's related to the marked pedagogy papers and personalized automated, like that kind of stuff. I don't have anything really cool to say about that right now. It's kind of sailed, but just a major thing that I'm in JoPro and somewhat in the study ethics tech group in general right now is like agent narrative. You could say narrative agency or reflection agency, or just sovereignty around how your thought or argument is being constructed. It's just a major theme on many fronts that we're hitting. So yes.
And then this comment, AI for teaching progressions rather than certainty of outcome.
I feel like that's I feel like that's kind of a key. If you're going to use AI, like what a really cool way to use AI that I think is useful and benevolent is making explicit the teaching progression of, oh, you're at this level, how do we get to the next level? I think that is a great and interesting use, and you're using the strengths of the tool because the tool is great at I don't think necessarily accurate. It's not about truth, but about proportioning and expressing it. I think people don't understand LLMs speak in sort of a proportional statistical language in the ratio of what is presenting to you. And if you're going to use the tool at a strength, the strength-based approach to using LLMs is wielding the proportion and understanding it may be incomplete, and understanding you may have to guide the LLM to represent the proportion, the ratio, the statistical allocation of what the context is. Like that's an interesting and potentially useful. And like, if you're going to use it, understand it's not a truth discerning tool. It's something that's going to present you with a proportion, a ratio, a contextualized thing. If you could use that for teaching progression, say, indicate, hey, this is at a certain level, how do we go to this next level, or condense it, or like this sort of states of what the context might look like. That's, I feel like, an interesting way to do it, rather than I think there's an argument to be made that a lot of this like outcome or going back to like a high school example, if what you're doing at an implementation functional, what you're doing in terms of the functional happening, if you're saying, give me a written report, and that report needs to be graded based on the words that are there, you're doing this very you're producing an artifact, and then you're evaluating the artifact that's on the text. And this is a very, a classic problem or a long-standing issue in any kind of a teaching. Like, you have to, how do you get a student to iterate or present their things and iterate their ideas and get the feedback? You have to get feedback, that's a legitimate problem and theme and thing you have to do for teaching. But it's like, it's sort of this weird reductionist type problem of what what was my point here? How do you move past the long existing problem of creating an artifact that may or may not represent the student's learning? Like, that's sort of the core issue. But then, like, are you using AI in a way that's just going to say, well, we're going to have more? Are you just creating more of the thing that has the artifacts, and then more evaluation of the artifacts? Or are you shifting the structure of what's happening? I'm sure you have a much more articulate way to kind of explain what I'm trying to get at, Brandon, hopefully. But does that make any sense?
Yeah. Let's finish with...
This is, I think, the personality one that we covered.
Okay. Oh, the psychometric approach to
it was interesting because it's sort of looking at Big Five, which is one of the more respectable things. But even Big Five itself was based on this linguistic approach. Like what was it called? The linguistics, where did it go? The lexical hypothesis, which is like it doesn't really matter. I won't spend a lot of time here, but it's an interesting way of attempting to use Big Five and understanding the personalities of AI agents and how it can somewhat accurately predict a map of where in like human psychological space things are, while at the same time I posted one of the concluding points. It wasn't the main conclusion, but it's kind of before the main conclusion. They kind of have this little caveat paragraph saying, our findings demonstrate both the potential limitations of using AI agents as stand-ins for human participants in psychological research. On one hand, alignment between AI agents and humans particularly correlations between input Big Five traits and output responses, suggest that AI agents hold strong potential as a useful tools for preliminary investigations or pilot studies. So, kind of saying, if you're trying, this is essentially another version of what I was trying to say before. If you're trying to expand a context, it's the LLM tools and these agents are interesting ways to use language-based stuff to preliminarily map a space, create an outline for an essay, or map a problem space or a space for a study. And it says on the continuing the quote, on the other hand, the discrepancies we observed, such as skewed responses in the moral dilemma vignettes and divergences in the finer patterns of results, underscore that AI agents cannot fully substitute for human participants when drawing inferences at large-scale research projects yet. So it's sort of like this dilemma of what are we doing with these things? Yeah, and we can leave it at that, and maybe touch upon similar things next time.
Okay, that sounds great. I did want to talk about, or I did want to demo something here to finish off.
Oh,